Alright, it is Mercury retrograde in Gemini. Gemini is my moon sign, which is already a restless placement, but adding Mercury retrograde to it has made it quite unstable. As a result, there's been a lot of interruptions, distractions. I got one neighbor right now cutting the grass. I got tree crews in my backyard cutting down trees and getting ready to throw them in the wood chipper. This is something the power company has sent out to clear tree limbs and branches from around the power lines, as they do every couple years. So we're just going to have to make do. Hello, Frater Xavier. I've been binging on your channel all week. Anyway, I work on a children's cartoon and can actually put hidden symbols in there from time to time. As a joke, I put pseudo Illuminati and actual Illuminati symbolism in episodes. Now, I don't believe in the Illuminati and would find it very amusing if conspiracy theories existed around a show made for preschoolers. But if the Illuminati does exist, am I fueling them in some way? Or if the Illuminati only exists as a thought form, am I fueling that? Or am I just giving power to the corporate animation studio that already seems to own everything? Thanks for your time. Now, you already know that if the conspiracy theorists latch on to that, they're going to have a field day. But whether or not that's amusing, yeah, you're kind of feeding into that. My question would be, since you're in such a unique position, why not try to put empowering symbolism into your cartoons? Because the kids today are really in trouble. They need some help. They need to have their creativity fueled, to have their critical thinking bolstered instead of being dumbed down. You are actually in that position to shape the minds of the youth without them even knowing it. That's a pretty awesome responsibility, to know that you can actually make a difference. So you might want to give that some thought and consideration. And I appreciate the question. Will you please turn up the volume of your videos? Well, I have. In fact, I think they're almost a little too loud now. But I could be wrong. I know my earlier videos were very, very low volume. See, the thing is that I wear headphones when I'm recording and listening. Rarely do I ever use speakers. And so everything kind of sounds loud to me. But I am using a normalization on the videos now, which does increase the volume. Thanks for the question. Hello, I just began the neophyte grade as outlined in L.C. Thomas's book. And I just had a question or two regarding the daily ritual formula. I saw in the end of the chapter regarding the neophyte grade, I think it was the end of 4 or so, that no tools are really needed other than robe, censer, etc. For a while I was using a quartz point as somewhat of a wand during the cross and LBRP, and was wondering if I should continue or discontinue doing so, and what the leeway is on this idea, and also, is it of any paramount importance whether I make the point of Malkuth at the solar plexus or groin? I think this is all I really need help with, so thank you very much in advance for any help. Regards. Okay, my personal opinion on this regarding the wand is, starting out in the neophyte grade, you should probably just use your fingers. That is your index and middle finger pointing outward. And once you get to the point where you can actually feel the energy coming out of your fingertips, then switch over to an athame, which is a ceremonial dagger. the LBRP and Kabbalistic cross, you should be using an athame, not a wand. I don't really think that it would hurt to use a wand, but at the same time, you have doubts, and those doubts will hurt your practice. I know a lot of people get caught up on the technicalities, and that's one of the biggest stumbling blocks to performing magic. Because when that doubt creeps in, that's when things get messed up. It's all in the frame of mind that we hold. I'm sure there's some people out there that have used wands and never thought twice about it, and they work just fine. But if you're in doubt, go with the book. Start with the fingers, which is actually good training to have the energy flow through your arm and out your fingertips and actually be able to feel that. Then I would switch over to an athame and have the energy flow from your hand through the athame and out the point. As for the second part of your question, the solar plexus. Again, this is something that a lot of people get hung up on the technicalities when it's more important that you feel you've done a good job. And a lot of these things are self-correcting anyway. After you've been doing them for a while, you will have a sudden realization that you should be doing it a certain way. That's just how these things kind of happen. The solar plexus is a very protective center. Groin is the root chakra, and during the Kabbalistic cross, you are activating those higher faculties, separate from the animalistic and carnal desires. As you can see, it's the conscious mind that always seems to get in the way, especially at first. This will improve as you keep doing your exercises and your meditation. And I appreciate the question. Thanks. Thanks you for this info, but can you let others know not to touch their testicles when doing this? If you think this is painful on your face, touch your balls with this all over your hands. It's not funny. The pain was so bad. Well, ever I have children again, my nuts boiled. They look like the tomatoes you get in a can, red and swollen. It's not funny. It's pretty funny. It's a little over the top, but it's still kind of funny. Of course, this is in response to the lemon and honey skin remedy, which I believe I did say to use it on your face. Not your balls, but your face. Aries, sun in Aries. Aries rules the face. So yes, kids, do not put this on your genitals unless you really enjoy that burning sensation. Some like it hot and some not, when the heat is on. Oh my. Hey Frater, quick question. First off, I'm loving your sigil magic course, by the way. But I was wondering, could a sigil work in the form of art? Like drawing pictures and simple doodles, but the drawings would be my desired outcome in picture form. I hope that makes sense. Take care. Yes, absolutely. Now, I've already answered this gentleman's question in an email, but I wanted to also answer it here. Yes, you can draw art form sigils. Now, that's not the way that I do it, so I can't really testify towards it. But I do know that others have done it and do it. I'm going to put a link for those interested here with Grant Morrison, the famous comic book author of The Invisibles, talking about how that entire comic book was a sigil, and that what he would do with the characters would come to pass. And the character that was based off of him, he actually put into the hospital and then had to get himself out of it. But I'll leave that for you guys to watch. And I appreciate the question. What I've learned so far is that I have to limit the information I consume each day. There are so many techniques and everyone seems to be preaching their own story. But there are so many stories with conflicting elements, it can make your head spin. Yes, there is a such thing as information overload. I know I got a lot of people saying that I take things a little slow, but there is a reason for it, and that is the reason. Too much information too quickly can be just as damaging as not enough information. It's just the polar opposite. There has to be time to internalize that information and get the understanding out of the information. It's just like eating. If you just start scarfing down your meal without chewing at a rapid pace, there's a pretty good chance that you're not going to be able to digest that properly, and you're going to get indigestion. Well, it's the same thing with information. You have to learn to internalize and digest that information. Thanks for writing in. Hi, I just watched the video on entities, and I was wondering when in my magician parkour these things could start to show up to me. Not that I don't believe in those entities, but to be honest, I don't feel like I've ever been in contact with such negative energies. I'll try not expecting them to show, but still I feel like I need to be prepared, and I want to be sure I can make the difference between a real negative entity and my mind playing tricks on me. Thanks a lot for your videos. Alright, so these things start showing up when you start thinking about them, focusing on them, and concerning yourself with them, because that is your intention. And you say, well, Frater, that's not my intention. I don't want to have these things around me. But the subconscious mind doesn't understand negative terms, such as I don't want these things around me. It's going to ignore the word don't. Anything you focus on is what the subconscious is going to assume that you want. And this is where most people get screwed up, not just with entities, just in life in general. They focus on not having money, not finding love. They focus upon their lack, and so they get more lack, and then wonder why their life is lacking. And this is why we say that when you are focusing on something and visualizing things, that you need to do it as if you already have it, to keep you from focusing upon the lack of having it. Now, when it comes to entities, when we go to do an evocation or an invocation, we are focusing upon that entity. It's a little bit more complex than that, but not that much more elaborate. And that will draw them to you. And a lot of entities are merely thought forms that people create by dwelling on them and thinking about them. This is why I say you got to get away from the conspiracy stuff, because, you know, next thing you know, you're focusing on reptilians and you're seeing reptilians everywhere. It happens to people. It sounds funny, but it does happen. You got so many people focusing upon that, of course they're going to exist, at least in a thought form. Next thing you know, all kinds of weird shit's happening to them. So my advice is, if you don't have any experience with negative energies or entities bothering you or hounding you, then don't worry about it. Don't focus upon it. It need not concern you at this time. If you want to know how to deal with it, just simply practice your banishing rituals, or if and when that time arises that you need it. Otherwise, you're just going to merely create the very problem you're seeking to avoid. And I do appreciate your question. It's a good one, thanks. I admire your sophisticated approach of spirituality. However, this comes along with making spirituality a tool. It sounds like using the subconscious and collective subconscious as means to an end. The result that benefits the magician seems to be the core of your teachings. This became especially clear when you talked about Jesus' teachings in connection with the old wisdom, what goes along, comes along. This made me question the mindset of the magician, because I believe in altruism without the condition or premise of having positivity returned to you. It's why I dislike the idea, not saying it doesn't exist, of karma. Do you only forgive people on purpose, to keep the circulation flowing, or is there something like true love for the sinner? I'm not trying to judge you, just really interested in your point of view. I would say that you cannot really have true selfless love for others unless you love yourself, unless you have your needs taken care of, unless you are in abundance, because that's when the cup floweth over. And when the cup floweth over, then you can share what you have with others and have a selfless compassion for them. Many of the people that go around hating on other people really have a problem with themselves and hate themselves to a degree and are just merely projecting that upon other people. Of course, there's your close friends and family, but I'm talking about just people you don't know, strangers on the street, and having genuine compassion for them. I think about all the things that I was going through in my low points before magic, when my cup was empty. I was of no use to anybody. I mean, how are you going to help somebody if you don't even know how to help yourself? If your cup is empty, what do you have to share? And so, yes, I do focus upon building up your own self-worth, your own value, adhering to the principles, creating your abundance so that your cup will floweth over, and then you can share that with others. Case in point. Frater, I have begun the great work, and it is completely amazing. Since I started, I can see things in a different perspective. I am much more positive, and my feelings toward everyone and everything is so much better. Yes, it is a strange feeling to have, but very exhilarating. My perspectives are so different, almost indescribable. Just over the last few months of doing the simple exercise of banishing and rejecting bad thoughts as well as accepting good ones is a life changer. My heart is feeling awesome love for people. I see everything is beautiful, and so let it be. I started the Kabbalah work on May 11th. I've started researching the holy science of astrology as well, and I am feeling that my true vision is materializing before my eyes. I'm doing the banishing ritual every day and will never, ever miss a day of doing so. I feel as though something so powerful and great is in my being. I know that it will take time, and I have an incredible respect for the God names, as you have stated. My journey has begun, and I accept it. Although it is a little scary, I truly know that this is a calling and one that I must accomplish in my life. I want to thank you with all my heart. I feel you are the only person that could have awakened me. I truly know you are a great man. I will always think of you as a true, genuine human being. All of the best to you, as always. Frater, any advice you have for me will be greatly appreciated. Always looking forward to your videos. So much amazing info. You are the best. Sincerely, Kevin. See, this is what it's all about for me. Not the flattery, but making that positive impact, which I wouldn't be able to do if my cup didn't runneth over. And then he'll be able to fill his cup, and then he'll be able to make the same kind of impact on people's lives. That is how it's done. You have to first lift your own spirit up to be able to lift the spirits of others. You have to climb to that high position to be able to reach down and pull somebody up with you. And it's in that knowing that I made a difference, that kind of impact, That's what brings the joy to my heart and keeps the cup filled. Kevin, just keep doing what you're doing, brother. Just by doing those few exercises, you're already more advanced than the majority of the population, than most of the people that you're going to meet. Keep working upon your work and you will begin to make that kind of impact on the lives of others. And I appreciate both the question and the letter from Kevin. Thank you very much. Your videos are truly inspiring. There's only been one other person in my life that has made the impact you are, and for that, I thank you. Thank you, Frater Xavier, for helping me reconnect with my faith. See, it's not a fluke. I get just as many messages with people expressing their gratitude towards me as I do questions. See, what people think of spirituality is actually backwards, thinking that you got to be selfless and to help others. That's the goal, but they don't tell you how to get there. You cannot do it if your cup is empty. They don't teach you how to fill your cup. That's the part they leave out. You have to fill your cup first and handle your own being first, and then you will make a difference. If the spirituality that most people believe in actually worked, the world wouldn't be in the condition that it has been in for so long. The thought of using magic to influence a ball game seems rather silly and sad to me. The equivalent of Christians praying for their team. Great stuff otherwise, Frater Xavier. This is, of course, in response to my NFC Championship video, which was a spontaneous thing. It's not like I planned to influence it. It was just in the middle of the game, seeing what I can do. And yeah, it is somewhat silly, but Frater needs to get his kicks too. And I can afford to do so because my cup runneth over and I'm making a difference. It's not as if that's all I'm doing is influencing ball games. I am making a positive difference as previously shown. So if anyone should have the luxury of being able to screw around with their magic and influence a ball game during their time off, I would certainly think that I would qualify. And I do appreciate the comment, thanks. And I think that's really all we have time for in this video. I will be going through a lot more of the questions after the holiday weekend and sending out replies to those, because it's just really impossible to fit everything into the videos as much as I'd like to. I'd like to remind people that Gumroad is now accepting PayPal, which I know many of you have asked for. It is still in the trial phase, and as such I am a beta tester of sorts. So you'll want to take advantage of that while it's good to go. I imagine they're going to roll it out for everyone, but when it comes to trials and beta tests, there really is no guarantee. So you want to strike while the iron is hot and while the window of opportunity is open. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone who sent in questions and messages of gratitude. I do appreciate each and every one of you. I wish everyone a great holiday weekend, and I will see you next time. Take care.